Continuing on with my review of early Donald Westlake's fiction, here are three pulp magazines from 1961 through 1962, and two of them are science fiction stories. Westlake is notorious, or rather infamous, for having walked away from science fiction. Apparently, he couldn't stand the medium, but it paid, so that's why he did it. This story in Galaxy magazine, October 61, is quite good. And of the three here, it's his best, and I hope it's collected somewhere in an anthology. It's called The Spy in the Elevator, and has a lot of the humor that Westlake is a master of, and comedic suspense. It's got some really nice writing and descriptions. The story is about a guy who is in the future, in the year 2000, where everyone lives in these huge apartment buildings that are covered in bubbles, and they are at war with the other bubble towns. This guy needs to get on the elevator to propose to his girlfriend, whose one failing is she is intolerant of tardiness. And yet it turns out the elevators are turned off because there's a spy in the building from one of the other bubbles who's infiltrated. And so he is trying to get to his girlfriend's apartment through the stairwell, and of course runs into the spy, and it becomes a bit of a comedic farce. Westlake just wraps it up very nicely, and it's a bit of an anticlimax, but it's a very entertaining story. This one may be one of the stories that really showed Westlake getting tired of the genre. It is a long novelette called Meteor Strike that goes page after page for nearly 40 pages, giving descriptions of the feelings and of these astronauts and their spaceship, and ultimately they need to lighten up their spaceship, and they start fighting over what cargo to get rid of, and they determine what they can't live without is entertainment, or else they'll really start killing each other. This story goes nowhere and was painful to try and get through. My guess is Westlake found it equally painful to write, and maybe this was the straw that broke the camel's back, because around this time he just stopped writing science fiction. In the Saint Mystery Digest, there is a mystery here called A Time to Die, but it's also uncharacteristically dry. It doesn't have the Westlake flair, and I'm wondering if part of the reason for that is this magazine may be a bit pretentious. They may look for more hoity-toity type stories or authors. Even the little writing here introducing Westlake, the blurb, is so formal. Donald Westlake, author of the recently published Killing Time, Random House, and The Mystery Writers of America, award-winning The Mercenaries, Random House, just reprinted by Dell, makes a first appearance in these pages with the story of a private eye hired to protect a young man from an accident. Doesn't sound too exciting. It's very turgid and stiff, and that's how the story comes out. It ends up being sort of an Ellery Queen type where this guy unexpectedly dies by being poisoned, and they need to figure out who the person is who did the poisoning. Certainly nothing memorable, which is highly unusual for Westlake. The last thing I looked at this week is this book, Kill the Boss Goodbye, because Westlake has frequently cited Peter Rabe, and this book in particular, as one of his favorites. And there's even a little write-up here at the beginning where Westlake is quoted. Donald Westlake has written that the understatement of violence in Rabe's novels, resulting from his modesty of character rather than modesty of experience, culminated in a method that was refined to a laconic hipness I could only admire from afar. I've read that sentence a number of times and frankly have absolutely no idea what it means. But obviously Westlake thought very highly of this author and book. I've tried to get through it. It's full of dense paragraphs that lack any spark or style. It's not fun. In fact, in many ways, I would say it's just the polar opposite of Westlake's writing, as far as I can tell. Certainly the opposite of his writing under the pen name of Stark. It seems to have a good plot, something interesting, pulpish, but it's nothing that would stand the test of time. It's something that I think has survived only because Westlake has spoken so frequently of this author. And my guess is the reason Westlake liked Peter Rabe is because his style is so different from Westlake's, although the subject matter is the same. So Westlake may have just found it to be a nice escape from his own head. So there you have it, some more early work and an early influence on Donald Westlake.